This is in no way my attempt to justify my comic book obsession. And this story, I really, really like. Artwork, the storytelling. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Pull List, your source for all things comic book and comic book related on YouTube. My name is Travis. Let's talk about the Venom movie and rumors and things. So everyone knows that the villain Venom became a household name after the third Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. Eddie Brock, Black Symbiote, he hates Spider-Man, that old chestnut. In the comics, the Venom symbiote rescued a toast, Eddie Brock, but left a little bit of a spawn in its cell, which was found by Eddie Brock's cellmate, Cletus Cassidy, who was a serial killer. When Eddie Brock had the Venom symbiote, he was pretty monomaniacal. He hated Spider-Man. He wanted to kill Spider-Man, but he liked to say that he protected the innocents. Cletus Cassidy, on the other hand, was a homicidal maniac even before the symbiote, and then after he became Carnage, he just really went wild. Now, when people ask me who my favorite comic supervillain is, I have two answers. In DC, it's Doomsday. In Marvel, it's Carnage. Carnage is kind of a weird villain to have as a favorite because he just kills people. Like, a lot of people. Like, his MO is just slaughtering people. And I know now that if I'm ever accused of murder, the prosecution is going to reference this video and go, look, his favorite villain is Carnage. Carnage is a serial killer. Put Travis away. Carnage is not a brilliant mastermind. He does not want to run a criminal organization. He gets caught, he gets put in super prison, he breaks out of super prison, and then he just kills people. He slaughters for the fun of it, hence the name Carnage. I guess one of the things that I like about Carnage is that even though he's kind of a one-dimensional character, he's just a random serial killer, murderer, just slaughterer of people, is that his symbiote is a lot stronger than Venom's. And because he's so random, it's really hard to predict where he's going to strike next. So it's kind of fun to see the struggle of the good guys trying to catch him and trying to beat him because he's so strong and because he's so random. In the current miniseries Deadpool vs. Carnage, it's actually up to Deadpool to track Carnage because they have similar types of crazy. So here's the news. Last week, the Daily Bugle Tumblr posted an article about serial killer Cletus Cassidy, aka Carnage, written by Eddie Brock, aka Venom. And it has been strongly hinted that Carnage will make an appearance as a villain in a future Spider-Man film. Up until recently, it was rumored that Venom might get his own movie, and as it turns out, The Amazing Spider-Man 4 might not be an Amazing Spider-Man movie at all, but a spin-off involving Venom as the main character. Venom is set to get his own standalone movie directed by Alex Kurtzman, and who better to play his opposite? Carnage. And while Venom doesn't have a confirmed release date, it's assumed that we're going to see it before The Amazing Spider-Man 4. The remaining question is that if the Venom symbiote creates the Carnage symbiote, when are we going to see Venom in the Amazing Spider-Man movie universe? He could be the villain in The Amazing Spider-Man 3, or he could be in the Sinister Six movie, provided that comes out first, or he could be created in his own movie along with Carnage. But if Carnage is in the Venom movie, it won't be a Venom movie about a supervillain. Venom has a vendetta against Spider-Man. He wants to go as far as eating Spider-Man's brains. Venom is bad, sure, but Carnage is so much worse. In the Venom movie, Venom might be fighting for the greater good, or at least against the much more detrimentally bad. So, who might be playing Cletus Cassidy? Well, it was rumored last year that Jim Carrey might take the role because he visited the set during filming for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, during the scenes that they were filming for the Ravencroft Institute, an institute where Cletus Cassidy was an inmate in the comics. So, you can make your own assumptions. In the comics, Carnage has had multiple miniseries over the years, including Maximum Carnage, Web of Carnage, Venom vs. Carnage, Minimum Carnage, Carnage USA, Deadpool vs. Carnage, and Superior Carnage. I think that's all of them. So yeah, he's definitely an established Marvel supervillain, and I really like the idea of pairing Venom and Carnage at odds with one another. They're both superpowered symbionts, and Venom is technically Carnage's dear old dad, a phrase that Carnage uses to taunt Venom in the comics. I don't know, I think it's gonna be a really fun, brutal movie. So let me know in the comments down below who you think would play the best Carnage, and while you're at it, we need a new Venom too, so who do you think should play Venom? The thing I didn't like about the Topher Grace Venom, there were a few things, but the main thing is that almost every time he went to talk, he pulled the symbiote back, and it was Topher Grace just snarling at people. I don't want to see that. No, pull it back. Be scary. I don't want to be reminded of that 70s show. Well, that's it for this episode of The Pull List. Thank you for fueling my comic book obsession, and you will see me soon.